Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube channel. Let's know your politics. Let's come together to create a better understanding for each other so we can watch and listen to what our politicians say. You understand? And by that I mean we ourselves must watch what they do. I did this video, I published this video some time ago because I thought about just republishing it, the same video, or to go live with it, but I said, you know, I'm not going to do that because it is such a it's such a conviction for me. You understand that I decided to redo this video again in my own way, because I don't think we are getting, as Jamaicans and as voters, we are getting the idea. I think the idea has been missed, it's been lost upon something, I don't know what it is, so I decided to do it all over again in my own way because it's such a major conviction for me that I'd really like to get it across to Jamaicans, wherever we are. Because sometimes we can see all in Switzerland and convince the people back home what to do and educate them too. And that is something we all need to do. And I want to say this again. I have to say it again because I will never get tired of saying this. I've been saying it from last year March. I've been saying it from even before last year March. But since I created this opportunity on the YouTube platform, I've been saying it right through ever so often. But now that election is in the air, I've narrowed what I've been saying about no political party is better than the other. I've narrowed this whole thing down to corruption. Corruption. And I say that, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to highlight this fact for Jamaicans to wake up and start to think about these things. Just listen carefully. Listen to what the JLP camp is saying and the PNP camp is saying. Listen to them in their campaign speeches. Listen to them in their presentation. Listen to them in their interviews. Everyone on either side, of whether it's JLP or PNP, are accusing each other of being corrupt. Section of the PNP went as far as to say the JLP is so corrupt that we need to get them out of the country. They don't deserve to be in politics again, so we need to get them out of the country. Section of the JLP said the same thing about the PNP. I'm bringing the attention to corruption here because I want people to realize. And I'd like someone to listen. Before I continue with this corruption thing, I'd like to say this. I'd like to ask people, just do some research here for yourself. What is politics? Why is it important? And why is it important? What is politics and why is it important? Do some research for yourself. Don't allow me to convince you. I'm a Mark Gold and Andrew Holness, I'm a member of PNP and a member of the JLP. Do it for yourself. And you will start to realize, and you will see, you will see clearly that the main cornerstone of politics is power. Power. Let's remember the word P-O-W-E-R. Power is the main cornerstone of politics. It is the hinging of politics. Having said that, ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, can there be power without corruption? And if you think there is power without corruption, research it for yourself. Ask yourself the question and type it into Google, any search engine you want to type it into. There is never power without corruption. There is never power without corruption. You will see that for yourself. I want to bring to the attention of everyone. They both campaign, both political parties campaign on this corruption thing. The JLP and their supporters say the PNP is corrupt. The PNP and supporters say the JLP is corrupt. So by default, what the JLP and their supporters are saying is what? The JLP is not a corrupt party. By default, the PNP and its political supporters are saying the same thing. By default, the PNP is not a corrupt party. Let us look at it for what it is then. Neither of these parties are corrupt. The JLP is not corrupt, the PNP is not corrupt. So again, I pose back the question to you. Why are they campaigning on corruption? Why are they campaigning and proving to the nation, or trying to prove to the nation, one of two things? That the JLP is corrupt, or the PNP is corrupt, or the JLP is more corrupt than the PNP, or the PNP is more corrupt than the JLP. There's one of two things. Either party is corrupt, or one is more corrupt than the other. That's the only reason I can identify why they are campaigning so much on this corruption thing. Let me bring into the mix the Dan Anderson poll that was Dan Anderson poll that was conducted in Jamaica some months ago, late last year, and the latter part of last year. Sometime in the latter half of last year, it was conducted. And the poll was taken, the question for the poll question was, what is the most important thing to you, to Jamaicans right now in their lives? He took a sample size. I didn't believe in the sample size, but let us say I have to work with what he did. I didn't believe in that sample size, because I don't believe the sample size was big enough to represent Jamaica. But that's what he did. But here's the thing. Remember, we're talking now about corruption. Corruption. The respondents that were polled says, most of them says, this is the findings from that poll. Crimes was their number one concern. Secondly, was job opportunities. Thirdly, cost of living. Fourth on the list was corruption. I want to refresh some of you memory who might have seen that video. Because when I first posted that video, I said to myself, now if corruption is the fourth most important thing on the list of concerns for Jamaican, then corruption is normalized in the country. Normalized to the extent that if you walk into a juicy beef place and the line long, you say, sell me a patty, and you know somebody on the counter, you can go get 2 patty and give them and say, pay feet for me later, and you're gone. That's a corruption, you know. May not a big thing, but it's corruption. I'm just using that as an example, which is really not, I'm not saying it is happening in juicy beef, but I'm just making it as simple as possible. Why? If the Jamaican, you know, let us zone in on this whole thing and bring the information together now. And see if we can make common sense of this bull crap that the politicians are selling the nation. If the respondent who were polled by Don Anderson says corruption is the fourth most important concern for them as Jamaicans, Why are the JLP and their supporters campaigning on the platform of corruption that the PMP is worse than them? And why is the PMP doing the same thing? Ladies and gentlemen, what we're all overlooking and what most of us overlook, the same people that are on this poll. Some of them may be JLP and some may be PMP. The very same people who said corruption are the fourth most important thing on their concern on their list as Jamaicans. Some of them may just be JLP representative and some were PLP supporters. So if the nation is saying they are not concerned, it is the fourth most important thing on their concern on their list. Why then is it the most concerning thing for these political parties? Ladies, open our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Let us open our eyes and our minds and start to think. The polls conducted saying it is the fourth most concerned things to Jamaicans. But the politicians are selling it to the nation as the most important thing. So, this is how it ties in into their campaign. I'm going to point out this to you. And I need somebody to come on this. If you see this YouTube video, prove me wrong. Lay your comment there, prove me wrong. The PMP and the JLP are campaigning on corruption. Here's the PMP slogan. Time come. But time come for what, Mr. Golden? You're campaigning on corruption. What time come for what? When the very people are supporting you, the very supporters are saying you by default, your party is not a corrupt party. So you tell me the time come for. Because since JLP is the corrupt one, you tell me what your time come to do. What the PMP time come to do. To prove to them just as corrupt or they're more corrupt than JLP, or to take over the corruption party. To now control the corruption coffers. None of them. Same thing with the JLP. Before I say that, same thing with the JLP. They campaign against the PMP on the same mantra. Not on the same mantra as time come. But give us another term. But Mr. Holness, another term to do what? Convince the nation what? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is all against the understanding, that their supporters are saying neither of these parties are corrupt. But these parties are campaigning a corruption. So they are trying to prove to the country who is more corrupt. And who is not and who is. Just look at how the political, psychological wool has been drawn over your face. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to wake up to these bullshit that these politicians are offering the nation. Other way forward. I also said that I'm no economist by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm no economist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm more certified in, qualified in public administration. We look at procurement, we look at project management, we look at all kind of funding, how the fund is disbursed and what the law said about this and the rules said about that. That's where my expertise lies. Not in what Andrew Holness did or Mark Holness did or Mark Golden Barn or not in all those crap. Not in all of that. Because I believe it's the laws of the country are right and people willing to uphold and work by the law. You could have come from Bakto, from Timbuktu, and come out of Sahara Desert, you can be Prime Minister of Jamaica. That's my belief. I don't know about nobody else. As long as they're willing to abide by the rule and vote and govern on behalf of the country and the people, no matter where you come from. Do you think? That's me. But they are campaigning against each other. Trying to prove who is more corrupt than the other, or who is corrupt and who is not. You understand? Yet the Dana and the poll is showing how irrelevant corruption is in the country. Let us go back to this. I open this video by saying, research what is politics and why is it important. You will find that power is the cornerstone of politics. And there's no power without corruption. There's a causation principle between power and corruption. Power create corruption. Corruption create power. That's the causation effect or causal effect between them. That's the effect between those two issues. We need to wake up, ladies and gentlemen. We need to look at what is happening. We need to understand for ourselves, not let the politicians keep telling us what is this and what is that and what is that. You understand? So we need to research these things now and start to get a better understanding. I know I'm never going to get tired of doing this because I think it is important, and if I have to do another video on it again, do some more research, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do another video on it again because I'm dead set on getting Jamaican to recognize and realize that you cannot have power without corruption, and you cannot have corruption without power. If a man is so corrupt, he's going to have power. And get away with it, he's going to have power. And if he has the power, he's going to corrupt everything and get away with it. Do what he wants. Just as simple as that. So don't let them fool you about I'm not corrupt. Because Mark Golding thing on YouTube, I don't know who come up with this foolishness, Mark Golding. Because you're not even smart neither to think as a leader. That these are not things that's going to sit well with you. I don't believe in corruption. These are not things that sit well with you, Mark Golding. You need a better projection, a better character projection than that. You need something far better that's going to project your character in a different light and in a more positive light and, you understand, convincing way of reaching people. But that crap is, but like I said, you people are in a dog fight to prove who is corrupt, more corrupt than the other. I have no dog in this fight, so whatever happens, happens. I want to also say that I started straight from the point, but let me get back to it. Because the corruption thing is eating away at me so much. And, you know, I'm so dead set on exposing this corrupt thing in the party, in the politics of the nation, you know, and the governance that we are getting. That I moved away from the whole economic point that I was explaining. I'm no economist by any stretch of the imagination, as I said. But what I can say to Mark Golding and his party, should they become the next government, what I can say to Andrew Wallis, should they continue to be the next government, and what I can say to all Jamaicans, let us consider this and take into consideration that our dollars, Jamaica's economy is entrenched in the U.S. economy. The U.S. dollar as it is right now presents good value still on the market, world market. But there's every effort afoot to weaken that dollar. There's every effort afoot to weaken that dollar and create a stronger currency. Even if a black nation has to come together like the BRICS, even if they have to come together and create a stronger currency than the US dollar and weaken that crap, they don't care much percentage it want to be weakened by. That's not them. They have their money. Now, if that happens as intended, ladies and gentlemen, I know Prime Minister Andrew Wallis is aware of that situation. I know Mark Golding is aware of that situation. But I hear none of them talking about all of these things. Instead of them on platform across out each other how corrupt and how corrupt that. Because that's all they can win the election and, you know, to prove to the nation who is more corrupt than the other. Because none of them is really getting to the meat of the matter. They are waiting until they're in power to start to get to the meat of the matter and start to do this, and then they come to you and say, boy, this wasn't possible and that wasn't possible. So just look and listen carefully, people. Even if you're let us say PMP supporters, let me say this to you. You've been bamboozled by your leader. JLP supporters, you've been bamboozled by your leader. You understand? Because all they're doing, look at how, like I said, just look at the way they campaign. And what's the main topic of their campaign? It becomes a campaign slogan for them. It's a campaign slogan, corruption. And once get into power, they take corruption with them. But here's the more serious part of this, Jamaica and Jamaicans. We the people have given the politicians, we the people have blindly given the politicians the little authority we have, the little power we have, the little autonomy we have, and give it to our JLP because we support them and say run with it, Andrew Holness. We give it to the PNP and say run with it, Mark Golden, run with it, PNP, run with it, JLP. We gave that up to them. They recognize that we have given them all our little power and our little autonomy. And the little rights that we had. We gave it up to them. So what do you think is happening? Now, let's see if you can underline the corruption slogan between these two parties in their campaign. Because once they get in that house, they now have power, absolute power. Because we don't have the power anymore. We have already given it up, so we don't have it. So they can do whatever they want to do. Corruption continues. If the PNP becomes the next government, corruption continues. Because the people have no authority or autonomy again. Autonomy. The JLP continue to govern. It's the same. Corruption continue. We gave up our autonomy. We gave up whatever little rights we have. Whatever power we had, we gave it up. We gave it to them, the politicians. So you tell me what they're going to do with that. Corrupt us or corrupt themselves? If we're fool enough to give power to someone and say run with it and do what you want to do, your thing, yes, or do what you want to do. You're the best man for it, so me sit down and wait for anything come, me take it. And this is another no-nonsense, corrupt argument coming out of people. When you hear people talk about, well, Andrew Holness is the best man for it. Did anyone of you know that there's no best man in politics? Has anyone of you really stopped to think that there's no best man in politics? There's no best leader in politics? People call politicians good man because you do a lot of, when the politician does a lot of crap for you, then you say I'm a good man. But I like to see a man tell me why Andrew Holness is the best man for Jamaica or Mark Golden is the best man for Jamaica. And tell me what you mean by best man. How do you arrive at that best man? What are the criteria they use to measure best man? They're not a fallacy of our foolishness. Politically, I should say. They're not a fallacy of the people's. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is the second time I'm going down this road with this video, and I do believe, because something just come to my mind, and I do believe another third version of it coming. So you know what? I'm going to cut it here. I just want to use this opportunity to say welcome to all Jamaicans again. Blessed love to every Jamaican, wherever you are. Doesn't matter who you are, no matter whether you're healthy, young, old, or whatever. Blessed love to everyone. And remember, all that we know this, all that we know this. Blessed love to the Almighty all the time. And we have to start look out for one another more. We have to start look out for each other more and more. You understand? Now it's not the time to put down people. We have to start learning to lift up our brother, lift up our sister, do what we can do. May not be much, but you never know how valuable your input is, small as it may be. Welcome to the Lenny Robbins YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm definitely coming back with another version of this causation and politics. The causation between politics and corruption. No, not power and politics. Power and corruption. Come on, Leonard. Power and politics. The causation between power and corruption. I know there's no corruption without power, and there's no power without corruption. And politicians enjoy both of that world. You understand? So let's come together, try to know our politics, and let us create a better understanding for each other. Because none of us know it all. And we got to teach each other, we got to take snippets from each other and, tie it into something that we figure is right and see if it makes sense. A man takes something from you, tie it into something to see if it makes sense to him. And we talk to each other and we keep sharing it. You don't have to talk to me directly, but if I see you put something out there that reflect my vision and reflect my thought, I'm not afraid to put a like to it and say, yeah man, you're on the right track, you're saying the right thing. It don't matter who you are. That's who I am. So, blessed love Jamaica on this Monday evening. I want to say thanks to you all. I had an accident this morning. I thought this pinky finger was broken, but God is good. You can see it. Yeah, and just the giant lick out. It not breaks so I forgot. They asked me to just take these two together and do no grabbing or lifting for a week, and I should be good. Blessed love to all Jamaicans. Enough love, enough respect. Yeah man, a time for wake up politically, And soon with Jamaicans. We love you. Love you.